Hello and welcome everyone to the call. Today I'm Dr. Tabor Smith on behalf of Genesis Chiropractic Software. I am with the man of the hour, Dr. Jim Dubel, founder of Chiropractic New Beginnings. And I got to tell you, Dr. Dubel, I have heard a lot about you. I've seen you all over the internet, and you know you're a big name in chiropractic. So I'm honored to have you here on the call tonight. And welcome, and thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, but I'm no different than anybody else. I'm just a hard-working chiropractor. But thank you for the accolades.
Well, you're humble, and I appreciate that too. And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right in and get started and ask you some questions here. Basically, just a laid-back interview and me picking your brain because. Really, I'm what I call a selfish interviewer. I've been in practice for almost 6 years now, and every time I interview somebody, like yourself, I want to just grab everything I can for myself. And I feel like the listeners who are listening in on the interview, they probably are in the same boat as I am half the time, and so they just get just as much out of it as I do. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in and ask you. I know we talked earlier. You've been in practice for 34 years now. I have huge respect for you and for that, and I want to be there someday, and since I've been in practice for 6, I want to be in practice for another 35, 40 years, and I also want to be not only in practice for that long, I want to be one of the best in my community. I want to be successful. I want to be able to touch people and help people, and I want to be a principled chiropractor when I do that. So what would your advice be, looking back, putting yourself back when you were only 5 to 6 years into practice, and what would you do differently, or what would you do more of? Would you share with us your thoughts on that?
All right. And forgive me if I talk long. Just interrupt me at any time. When you talk
okay.
Yeah, when I'm talking chiropractic, time goes by quickly. I guess for me, I got my start going to philosophy seminars, and the thing was DE with Sid Williams and some of the greats that he had, Jim Sigafoos, Chuck Ribley, Ian Grasham, John Hoffman, and some of those fellas. I would suggest any young chiropractor ready to get out of school or, in practice, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, they got to get together with people of like mind. And what that means is people that enjoy chiropractic, that live in chiropractic, that have a family in chiropractic. You got to be around them. What happens? We get husks built around us. We get beat up all the time, and we become an island, so to speak, all by ourselves. And you think that, well, I know the answers. I got my degree. It's hanging on the wall. I've read a green book by B.J. Palmer. I know all the answers. And unfortunately, today we don't. There's days right now, I've been in practice 34 years, and there's days I got to pick up the phone and call up Tony DeMarco or Bob Tarantino or Sam Salimo or Ernie Landy, some of the guys, Bill Henry, Jay Hand, guys on my board, and say, listen, I'm having a bad day today. Well, what do you think? And right away they go, well, you get your head out of your butt and start serving more, start giving, start taking care of people. So I grew up with the tenets that you give, serve, and love, and I got those from Sid Williams. I can't thank him enough. But he got that stuff from B.J. Palmer. And B.J. knew that chiropractic works, and it works every single time. Maybe not the way you think it should work, but it works 100% of the time. You put your hands on somebody, you move a bone back into its normal position, relieving that nerve interference so that the body has the opportunity to heal itself. What more could you ask for? I mean, that's the most magnificent job in the world. And then people turn around and they pay you for it. It's so exciting to be a chiropractor. A young chiropractor needs to get with a group of other people that think like he does. They need to develop a philosophy in their practice that every person needs to be under chiropractic care in the entire world. And they do. I'll give you a side note. Dentistry years ago, a lot of people didn't go to the dentist. They couldn't afford it. It was a waste of time and money. Well, now you notice that just about everybody goes to the dentist. Their teeth have to be cleaned. They have to be brushed a few times a day. They have to have good oral hygiene. They want their teeth whiter and whiter. They want big smiles. They want to have pretty teeth. Well, where did that come from? The dental industry got together and promoted it. Chiropractors need to start doing that, and they need to promote themselves, and they need to promote chiropractic for the true reasons of what it really It truly is a magnificent healthcare that needs nothing. You do it with your hands. So, what you're looking at is you're taking your hands. You can go anywhere in the world, okay? You can speak any language. You can adjust a man or a woman, any nationality. I can go to China. I can go to Spain. I can go to South America. Wherever I go, I can make an adjustment. And guess what I've got? I've got my bag of tricks right here, my left and my right hand. How incredible is that? So that's the start of this. Your turn.
Oh no, I mean you're right on. You're doing. I mean you can keep going forever if you want to on that. One of the things that I heard you say, is building your philosophy in your practice, and that's another question that I have because I tell you what I've seen, and the chiropractors that I've hung out with, my friends, the most successful chiropractors that I know are the ones who are the most principled and have the strongest chiropractic philosophy. I mean, I don't think that's a coincidence, and so just that in itself drives me to want to strengthen my own philosophy in chiropractic. And there's probably a lot of listeners out there right now who feel that as well, but they don't know how to, So what would your recommendations be? I know you mentioned DE earlier, but let's say I want to strengthen my chiropractic philosophy and I want to grow and become strong in it. What do you recommend I do?
Well, the first thing is you have to find a group that's near you. Here's how I started. We were literally in this little town called Red Bank, New Jersey, and I picked up the phone book. Back in the day, there was a phone book, and there was a big this yellow page thing. I looked up all the chiropractors in this local area, and there was about 4 of us back in 1980. And I called them all up, and 3 of the 4 guys were younger guys. One guy was an older guy who didn't want anything to do with it. He goes, if anybody goes to a chiropractor, he's going to me. And I said, okay, well, I just wanted to see if we could get together and I could pick your brain. And he had no desire. Got the other 3 together, so the 4 of us sat down, and we had lunch. And we chatted, and we all liked each other. But we talked about chiropractic. We talked about who read a green book, who did this, who did that. And I happen to be one of those voracious readers. I've got every green book that BJ ever wrote, and a lot of other philosophy books. So I took it upon myself to take a few chapters and meet with these guys once a week on Wednesday night. We'd all get together and we'd open up a 6-pack of beer and sit in one of our offices and we'd share philosophy. Well, 1 or 2 of them invited some other chiropractors from another town, and then somebody else invited another chiropractor from another town. And before we knew it, we had 25, 30 chiropractors every Wednesday night. Then it got to the point where we started to bring in some outside chiropractors. Now, I'm not saying everybody should do this, but we brought in, guys like Reggie Gold, Pasquale Sarasoli, Ernie Landy, who came down and they took chiropractic. So I guess my advice is start one of those little groups. There's groups out there. There's Epoch and Band of Brothers. Of course, there's New Beginnings, and I encourage everybody to come to New Beginnings. But if you can find something close to you that you can go to as a start, that's the thing. And it's so hard to close the door of your office, put the key in the lock, and say, okay, I'm going to go and humble myself or maybe belittle myself to go and listen to other people talk philosophy that might be better than me. You have to do that. And then once you get there, you realize that you're not humbling yourself. You're not belittling yourself. What you're doing is you're sharing. You get in there and you fellowship with other chiropractors of like mind, like you and I. Here we are on the phone. We both love chiropractic, want to talk about it as much as we can. So, what you're doing is the greatest thing in the world by sharing, these little interviews. People can listen to them, and this is a good thing in the future. Back in my day, 35, 40 years ago, well, we didn't have this. We didn't even have cell phones. So, little on the internet. So you got to get together with people that think like you. And that's the number one goal. And then the philosophy, like you mentioned, the most successful people are philosophically based and understand it. Yeah. There are guys, Tabor, that will never understand it. They became chiropractors to be a doctor, and they want to use every available diagnostic test and things to do what they do. You know what? You don't need all that. All you need to do is find, analyze, and correct a vertebral subluxation, and the world is your oyster. You're the pearl, buddy. It's incredible. And then you know what you see when you finally get the grasp of this thing, then you see the miracles. I could make a list of miracles that quote unquote medical failures and people that you'd say, oh my gosh, how did that respond to chiropractic? And I don't know, it's just that I knew that every person I laid my hands on was going to get better with chiropractic adjustment. They were going to be better. I didn't treat symptoms, however, symptoms cleared up. And I think everybody needs to be adjusted simply so that your body can work at its utmost ability. It's vivification. You need to make that adjustment so that the body can work. Because even a small subluxation is a big thing. We think, she's only got a little bit of a kink in her neck. Well, if that's a subluxation that's cutting off that life energy, man, you as a chiropractor have a golden opportunity and an obligation to get rid of it. So that's that. Ask me some more.
Absolutely. Speaking of Ernie Landy, I did an interview with him not long ago. It was awesome. That guy is just fun to talk to, and it was one of our most popular interviews. And he invited me to New Beginnings, and I'm going. I am definitely going to get out there. And hopefully, it's the end of January, right? Is that
I can't wait. Great. You can bring along your recording equipment. We'll do some interviews while you're there. That would be awesome.
That's super. That would be awesome. That would be great. And
then,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was going to say, before I've heard of New Beginnings, but I didn't know how to find it or, what exactly you guys do. So if you don't mind sharing with us a little bit about New Beginnings and how we can get more information on that.
Sure. New Beginnings, the website is www.nbchiro.com, NBChiro. And we're on Facebook. Just type in New Beginnings Chiropractic, and you can find us on Facebook. We're a nonprofit group of there's 14 of us board members that put New Beginnings together years ago. We meet just a fellowship to be together and to share philosophy. We meet 3 times a year. A lot of the guys go all over the world speaking, and then we look for young guys that are excited about chiropractic, and we get them to share the platform with us. Everybody dreams about getting up in front of a group of 500, 600, 700, 1,000 chiropractors and talking. Let me tell you something. You can talk to your patients, and you can talk them in or out of things. When you get in front of 700 to 1,000 of your peers, oh boy, your stomach is up in your throat, and to this day, after 40 years of doing it, I still get nervous every single time I speak. And wow. You got guys like a Jim Sigler who's sitting in the audience, or an Ernie Landy, and they're looking at you, and you can't BS. You got to be right on, and you got to live chiropractic. So New Beginnings is just a group that we're more philosophically bound than anything else. We're apolitical. We don't sell anything. We do this for the pure love of chiropractic, simply because it's the right thing to do. On that note, my innate's telling me to go in a certain direction. When I got out of chiropractic school, quick side note, I met this pretty little girl and wound up marrying her. And when I said to her, we're going to have, she says, well, okay, we got married, we're going to have a child. And she said, well, I'm scared, what should I do? And I said, well, you get adjusted throughout your pregnancy, and that baby will be perfect in every way. And the baby was. And she said to me, well, what about vaccinations? I said, well, if the baby was made and in 265 or so days came out with 5 fingers on each hand, 2 eyes that didn't fall out of its head, were perfectly suited, had a heart that beat, and every organ was exactly where it was. That's the way it was meant to be. That's perfect. Why would we need to put any chemicals in that baby? It's already perfect. God made it perfectly. And she looked at me and she said, okay. So our children never had vaccinations. They've only had adjustments. They don't even know what drugs are, because they've never had a drug, and my children are now older. My point being is, in chiropractic, you have to find a spouse that supports you. Whether you're a man finding a woman or a woman finding a man, or whatever your relationship is, you need to have someone that has your back all the time. I've seen so many great chiropractors who their spouse didn't adhere to it, believe in it like they did, and boy, it hurts you. So you got to have somebody, you got to get your spouse and bring them to a New Beginnings weekend, so they can see the little babies crawling around the back, and they can see their kids running and falling and having fun, and oh my gosh, they grow up there. And that's what we set out to do when we started this thing. My whole life has been chiropractic, and I wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for chiropractic. I my life, my wife, my family, my house, my car, everything is because of chiropractic. And I'm so thankful because I was chosen, by God to be a chiropractor. It just it humbles me every moment. So, your turn.
And I believe 100% I'm called to be a chiropractor, and I believe, that's one thing that chiropractic is not really a career. I believe it's calling. And also, what I was going to add when you were talking about that is I noticed the more I learn about philosophy, the stronger my philosophy gets, the more I see innate happen. Without understanding innate intelligence that the body does what it, always does what is necessary and correct. Without knowing that, when you're raised up in a medical mindset, you don't see it. I mean, it's like it's not there. And the more I learn about philosophy, and I call it philosophy, it's really just nature. It's innate intelligence. But the more I begin to see it, and an example, you're talking about your wife being pregnant, and I have a 3-year-old little boy, and then we were going to try to have another one. And my wife had a miscarriage real early, like just a couple weeks. She got pregnant and had a miscarriage. And of course that's devastating, but, I try to realize that that's intelligent. That's the body understanding that wasn't fit for life, that that was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to happen for that miscarriage to happen. And that's hard to take because you get excited. And then what happened here just a month or two, actually it's been about 4 months now, is we found out we were pregnant again. And we go through, and it's been, I think it was like 4 or 6 weeks, and all of a sudden she had bleeding. And so, pretty intense bleeding. And so, of course, she's just freaking out and crying and thinks that we had another miscarriage, and we waited a day or two. And so she passed something that she felt like that was a miscarriage. And so we decided what we'd do is we'd go ahead and we went to a private company that does ultrasounds, and we thought we'd just have her checked out, and just see what was going on in there. And so they did the ultrasound in there, and the lady said, you know what, not only is everything just fine, but you're having twins.
Oh, my God, that's wonderful.
Isn't that amazing? Talk about a shock going from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Dave,
but what was going on?
Yeah.
What was that?
You got to believe. Innate is in control all the time. We get our educated minds involved sometimes, and we think we know the answers. There was probably a reason. There was something that wasn't right, that your wife's body had to get rid of that. But you keep trusting her, and you keep believing, and you know what? Look what's going to happen. Just watch. You're going to have 2 healthy babies coming.
Yes.
God.
Yes,
oh,
amen. And that experience was something that built on top of my philosophy even more, to understand that, no matter what my educated mind thinks, the body is doing what is necessary.
There you go. So you got it. You already know. And if you could share that with more and more people, more of these young chiropractors, and I say young because I've been there. I've been through the wars, and I'm an old guy. And most of the guys at New Beginnings are older guys that are up on the platform that they're speaking. However, we're giving you the advice that you're getting as like parental units. We're the ones that have been there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Listen to us. Now, you're going to come to me, and you know about recording stuff, and there's Skyping and Googling and all that stuff on the Internet. It's all foreign to me. But the principles of chiropractic are as new today as they were back in 1895. They haven't changed. What a magnificent profession that they're it's same as it ever was. The moment the first adjustment was made, those principles came to bear. And guess what? They haven't changed in 117 years. They're exactly the same. Something so perfect, so pure, can't be changed, can't be made better. My famous thing is, see, I watch TV and it says, morning headache, take Excedrin AM. Evening headache, take Excedrin PM. How the frick does the headache know if it's the morning or the afternoon or the night? I mean, it's ridiculous. The body knows. If you let God, just let go and let God move the bone off the nerve, and watch the magnificence of that power inside you, that innate that can make twin babies at the same time. Oh my God! If you don't believe in innate right now, if you don't believe in God, something's wrong with you. And we as chiropractors have the opportunity. Every one of us, our hands can administer an adjustment anywhere, anytime, for any reason. Oh, my God. What more could you ask for? I'm so happy to be a chiropractor after all these years that I can't explain. I get tears in my eyes talking about it.
Yeah,
So, and that's what you need to find. You guys need to find chiropractors out wherever you are, in whatever state, whatever county, whatever municipality. Find somebody that loves it as much as you do. And you know what? They call us, religious messiahs and crazy people and nuts. You know what? Maybe we are crazy. Maybe we are a little bit off the wall. But you know what? It works. And that's all you got to know. Because no one to this day, BJ said it like this. He said, if chiropractic works, it works every time. If it doesn't work, it'll never work. But guess what? It works every time. Because it's worked. It works for me. It works for you. So just realize that if it didn't work, it would never work. But if it works every single time. And they can't prove us wrong. That's why we're here. We're stronger than ever. The major medical companies, big pharma, they're going to try and they'll say no, but they're going to try and destroy chiropractic to the very end. They're going to try and infiltrate us to the very end. But you know what? If we hold strong to our principles, the principles are what makes us different. And you probably heard Ernie Landy say it. He says a chiropractor with philosophy and principles is so strong, and he can hold that rudder so the ship keeps going straight and never let go. Where these other guys, well, I don't know, maybe I should do this, maybe I should rub them with that or put something on them or heat them or freeze them. You don't need that. That's not chiropractic. Chiropractic is doing one thing, but doing it for the right reasons. And if you're so strong in your philosophy, in your conviction, people will come to you. You don't need to water it down with other crap. Just adjust, but tell them why. You got to be so heavy-handed with that philosophy that they understand why they're coming. I have patients that have been patients of mine for 30 years that come in still today and pay the old fee of $10, where my fees now are $65, and come in and pay their $10 every single week to get adjusted.
Yep.
Now that's understanding chiropractic.
Yes, it is. I think you summed it up there, and I just want to say, not only on behalf of myself, but everybody listening, thank you, Dr. Dubel, for what you do, and thank you for sharing your passion and philosophy with us on the line tonight. I also want to reiterate and let everybody know that the New Beginnings website is nbchiro.com. That's www.nbchiro.com. Check it out. You guys have an event coming up in January, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, the end of January, and then in April, and then in October. But the end of January is our next one, January 2014. Love to have some of you guys come. Tape. I want to see you there, and I want you to record, some of the people. You can interview them and do a recording. That would be awesome. You tell me what you want to do off this, and we'll set it up, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you again for the call. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, thank you for asking me. I love and appreciate you. This is what does it for me. I love being here sharing with you, a young guy that's out there that's passionate about chiropractic, and anybody else that can listen. It makes my night better, and tomorrow I'll have a better day at the office. I love you guys, and good night.
Thank you, brother. Good night.
Bye-bye.